Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this viewing. I'm Natasha Adwaters. I'm the Executive Director of Children First Communities and Schools, and we are an organization that is committed to empowering children and families to reach their full potential through advocacy, education, and services. And I have the honor tonight of moderating this panel, and I'd like to give each panelist an opportunity to introduce themselves, their organization, and to share a little bit about what they do. So we'll start with Ms. Sanford.
Hello, my name is Shaunda Sanders. I work with the Asheville Housing Authority. I supervise our home ownership program. So we assist families that are residents of the Asheville Housing Authority with home ownership.
Hey folks, I only look like a money superhero. Actually, I'm Celeste Collins, and I work for OnTrack Financial Education and Counseling. We had another event tonight called Real Women, Real Money Stories, and it was fabulous, and we heard great stories from women who've been empowered around their money by working with OnTrack. We help people create budgets, we help people improve their credit, we help people learn how to buy homes, we help people avoid foreclosure, get out of debt, learn how to pay off student debt, and it's just awesome. And a lot of times when people talk about money, it doesn't feel very awesome. So that's why I wore my superhero cape tonight.
And my name is Andrea Golden. I work with an organization that's called Poder Emma Community Ownership. It's a neighborhood-based organization in the Emma community, and we work on neighborhood organizing to prevent displacement. We work to protect mobile homes as affordable housing, and we do cooperative development of resident-owned mobile home parks.
And I'm Andy Barnett. I'm the Executive Director with Asheville Area Habitat for Humanity. Most people know Habitat from our building side of our work, but as we think about the film topic tonight, we're going to kind of focus on the fact that Habitat is a mortgage lender that helps folks achieve home ownership who otherwise would be shut out of conventional lending, and helps people preserve the homes that they already own.
We're going to have our first question. It's going to be for Shaunda, so if you'll pass the mic down, I'd appreciate it. All right, so Shaunda, could you describe some of the barriers that families face and are able to overcome through active home ownership with the help of the Family Self-Sufficiency Program?
Sure, some of the barriers to home ownership for our residents are, of course, income. Credit, meaning their ability to access credit or poor credit, and the capital to have down payment assistance as well as money for closing costs.
All right, thank you. How do you help them overcome to achieve home ownership through the program?
The way we help them achieve home ownership or assist them is we first send them to Celeste to help with that credit. And then from there, I'll work with them to ensure that they're staying in touch with Celeste and attending their home buyers program. And from there, they are allowed to use their Section 8 voucher to pay towards their mortgage every month. So instead of paying a landlord, we assist them with paying their mortgage.
So I don't know that we planned this for the questions to be in order, but Celeste, how does financial and home ownership education bridge that home ownership disparity?
Thank you, Natasha. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight and be included, because a lot of times when people think of OnTrack Financial Education and Counseling, they don't think of the critical role that our agency plays in the journey of home ownership. As you saw in the film, home ownership in the United States has been fraught with racist policies and inequities in the system, and that's caused the racial wealth gap, the racial home ownership gap. Can OnTrack and our programs fix that disparity in home ownership? No. But our education and counseling can help individuals and families realize the dream of home ownership. And Shaunda was talking about some of the barriers, and the barriers of what we see. We see poor or non-existent credit, and we can help people rebuild their credit. We can help people take a look at their credit reports, see if there are errors on there, figure out how to dispute those errors, and if they're not errors, we can help them prioritize the repayment of the debts that will make a difference in their credit score and help them get home buyer ready from the credit score and credit history perspective. We do coaching, we do classes, we have action plans, and we don't just say, here's a list of things to do, live long and prosper. We say, here's a list of things to do. What things do you think you can do in the next 45 days? How am I going to know, as your counselor, that you've done those in the next 45 days? So we call it supportive accountability because we want to help people move forward in their money lives. Home ownership is complicated. Some people just say, I just don't even know where to start. And so we help people start. We help people figure out the home buying process. We introduce them to professional realtors, mortgage lenders, nonprofits that do financing. In our home buyer education class, we connect people with those professionals. And we help them understand what they need to do to be home buyer ready, how their credit score affects their mortgage rate, which then affects their mortgage payment. And so we create this picture of home ownership that is understandable and attainable. And y'all, in case you don't know, housing prices around here are so expensive, right? Can I get an amen? There are people out there, right? Yes. Yeah, I mean, houses are so expensive. And so folks that make minimum wage jobs, living wage jobs even, have a hard time affording the houses in our area. And so one of the things that I'm really proud of OnTrack for doing is being the down payment assistance experts for our community. So when people come to us and have income challenges of getting the home of their dreams, what we help them do is moderate their dreams and then also figure out if there are down payment assistance programs out there to help them attain home ownership. And the last thing I want to say is we see people that are discouraged because of the system that has created the inequities that we saw in the documentary. And so we try to create and instill some hope in those folks. It's not magic, but hard work and working with us and connecting to the community resources can make a difference in people's ability to become homeowners.
Thank you, Celeste. The next question is actually for Andy. Andy, how does affordable home ownership benefit the homeowner, family, and our community as a whole?
Yeah, well, I think watching this film again, I am struck by how broken the system is in both directions, right? How the kind of the underinvestment on the one side and the kind of overinvestment, speculative bubble on the other side. Just, you know, I watch that, and every time I see it, I think, gosh, how can a system, if the system's that broken, why support home ownership at all, right? Maybe we just need to blow it all up and start with something different. But I keep coming back to the idea that all forms of safe, healthy, stable, affordable housing just unlock a raft of benefits for individuals, for families, for communities. I think we see safe, stable housing being the key to success for kids in school, to all kinds of positive health outcomes, to deeper civic engagement. All of these things happen with all the different kinds of affordable housing that we're able to provide to folks. But homeownership does one thing more. And what that is when we expand homeownership, we increase the number of people that are able to have a share in the growing prosperity of our region. And so I think that's the thing to me that is the ultimate benefit of homeownership and what keeps us motivated to use homeownership as a vehicle. And you know, when they were talking in the film, the beginning about kind of the myth of the high-risk borrower. Habitat's a direct mortgage lender, and we really started from the very beginning, not just as a builder, but kind of having this mortgage lending piece to our work because people were being excluded from mortgage lending. And so that's always been a part of what Habitat does. And so, you know, we know that the people, even today, you know, the most recent Home Mortgage Disclosure Act data will show you that, you know, our lowest paid workers, our lowest paid neighbors, and households of color continue to be the folks who are most likely to be denied conventional lending. So what Habitat does, right now we're locally, we're serving those high-risk borrowers, those households of color, those extremely low-income families, about 4 times the rate of conventional lenders. And yet our performance of our loan portfolio is exactly the same as the average for Buncombe County. To me, that dispels the myth that this is some kind of a high-risk loan pool. I hope over time we're able to get that message out and get more and more lenders to step up to the plate and say, we don't have to make these kind of terrible speculative subprime loans. We don't have to fear investing in communities of color, because we're breaking down that myth that making loans to what we have typically called high-risk borrowers. It's just that. It's just a myth, and we have the proof now after years and years and years of doing this work. I think the other thing that's so critical around homeownership, and I'm proud of the work that we're able to do. A few months ago, I got a chance to not dress like this and put on some work clothes and go work with our home repair team on a project over in the Southside neighborhood for a longtime Southside resident, veteran. That home had been in his family since it was built in the 1920s. And what we were able to do with a little bit of investment in repairing that home was to help this individual continue to age in place, keep that home as an asset for his family and as an asset for the community, right? To retain the wealth. It's not been easy for households of color, for African American households, particularly in this community, particularly in that part of this community. A couple of blocks one way or the other, and this house would have been torn down during urban renewal. So to keep that wealth in that family, in that community, that's a critical part of what we have to do to make this work in our community, to kind of find the balance between the excesses of the one American housing market and the deficits of the other American housing market.
Thank you, Andy. The next question is for Andrea. Yes. Can you share a little bit with us about why mobile homes are an important part of the solution for our region's affordable housing crisis?
Yes, I can try. Although after watching that film, I did not take the advice and watch it ahead of time, so I watched it for the first time with you all, and it just left me thinking about so many things. So I guess the most honest way for me to answer that question is to say why it has been important affordable housing for myself, because I feel really cautious to say that there's any one solution of affordable housing. And so I think that the solution that my neighborhood is working for is very particular to our context and our community. But just personally, my daughter is 12, so 12 years ago I was renting in an apartment closer to downtown Asheville, and we were kind of suddenly evicted when she was born. And I'm actually thankful for that eviction, and at that time I did not work with an organization. I didn't know about any tenants' rights, and just found myself having to move within 30 days. And so we actually got support from Children First to find a referral to move into the Woodridge apartments in the Emma community. And so that's how I ended up in Emma as a single parent with 2 little kids. And it was a neighborhood that I'm so lucky to have landed there, because my neighbors really came together and really took care of us at a time that we needed a lot of care. And from the Woodridge apartments, I moved into a small mobile home park, and that was around the time that we started to see different mobile home parks around the county being purchased by developers and bulldozed. And so with a couple of neighbors, we started to feel apprehensive about, we had affordable rent, it was a good place to live, and we started to feel nervous about how long that situation would be stable. And having been evicted before, I didn't want to be surprised by that again. And so different neighbors came together and we were able to actually purchase a small mobile home park. We did not know what we were doing, but we definitely learned as we went. And I think something that was important for us was none of us had any credit. We do live in a community that faces lots of different barriers to lending, and so it's a community that tends to kind of self-finance. There's a lot of kind of community lending, and so we activated those community lending networks to purchase this park. We didn't have any kind of formal financing, and we talked a lot about why to purchase a mobile home park, which would allow us to own both the mobile homes and the land, was that we weren't getting ourselves into a 30-year mortgage because none of us had ever had a loan of any kind before. And so that sounded really intimidating. And so it felt like the right fit for all of our families to look at owing people who trusted us, and that's why they lent us the money, something that we could pay in 7 or 8 years. And we all felt like we could see that far ahead in our futures, whereas trying to look 30 years felt impossible. And so we lived there after living there for about 3 or 4 years is when we started actually getting requests from other neighbors, like, how could we do that? And can you teach us how you did it? And we were able to teach kind of the processes and the ways that we make decisions about how to maintain and care for our mobile home park, but we weren't able to necessarily replicate over and over that kind of informal lending amongst neighbors. And that was when we really set out to create a community organization that now has grown to support 5 different worker-owned cooperatives, 3 mobile home cooperatives, 2 real estate cooperatives, and we started our own loan fund. And I want to kind of echo what you said. We have now lent out, I was just quickly doing the math in my notebook, and we have lent out almost $500,000, and we have never had anyone default on a loan, ever. And we don't do any credit checks, we do not have any sort of formal process other than, have we done something together before? Have we trusted each other? Do you want to start this cooperative and join this network? And so I just want to kind of speak that for us, it's been important to own where we live, but we need to see our neighbors owning where they live as well, because we don't want to see our entire neighborhood change around us and kind of be the last ones there. And so that's what we're trying to set out to do.
That's amazing. You are to be commended and your team. The last question we have for the panel, panelist Andy, is how can members of this audience do a little bit more than view a film? How can they take action to support affordable housing locally?
You know, we're doing great on time. We kind of
take
cut.
some questions?
So I was just wondering if some of the other, if you guys want to add on to what people can jump in and do with your organization, and then I'll kind of wrap it up if you want to do that.
Look at Andy handing me the microphone. Yeah. Well, let Andy bat us all in, right? He'd be the final hitter. I would love it if the people in the audience would take away that OnTrack is committed to affordable housing, affordable home ownership, affordable rentals for people in our community. We are a great kind of foundational organization to help people develop those kind of money skills, to be able to understand about home affordability. We do a calculation with everybody who's interested in being a potential home buyer and say, okay, based on your income and your expenses, what can you actually afford to buy? And so we're not going to paint the picture of the big dream McMansion on the side of the hill that, I mean, we saw what happened in the housing crisis, people overbuying houses. So take away not only what I say and what I wear, but there are brochures in the lobby. The green one talks about all the programs and services that we offer. We have a brochure about buying homes. We have a brochure about improving credit. Spread the word. We would love to help more people on this path. It's not, as I said before, not an easy road, but we are with our clients on that journey, and we'll work alongside to get them in a place where they can afford homeownership, affordable rental,